the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Tuesday morning. We are glad that you have joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Brett and Randy here on a Tuesday morning. This is a recorded podcast, so we're coming to you on a recorded deal this morning. But you can continue to comment like you always do. We just will be able to interact with you. So make sure you do that. We'd love to see those comments. We appreciate all of you that have gone out and subscribed to our channel and liked all of our stuff. Please continue to do that as we continue to grow, and we appreciate all of you so very much. Tigers impressed the national media. Coach Freeze press conference yesterday. We're going to talk about all that here this morning, Randy. So, but yeah, I mean, starting there, and and it's deserved. I thought coming into this season, there were a lot of question marks. There's still question marks. I mean, one game, I keep saying it, one game doesn't make a season, but I think Auburn impressed a lot of people by putting 38 points up on the board and the way they did it and the way they held Baylor to under 100 yards rushing. Although they gave up a ton of passing yards, there are a lot of really positive things to take out of that football game on Friday.
Well, it wasn't a fluke physicality-wise. It was an Auburn team that leaned on them, was able to allow Baylor to take away what all of us expected, which was an explosive offensive attack coming mainly with wide receivers and hopefully the quarterback, taking advantage of his arm. But it wasn't that. It was a quarterback that's the SEC Player of the Week.
Right.
Not necessarily by the way that he threw the football around the park, but the way that he ran the football for 137 yards. And then, you got another 150, 160 some odd yards out of your running backs to go along with that. Over 300 yards rushing for Auburn. We know, or at least we feel as Auburn fans, that this defense can be cleaned up. You just don't know if you can clean up physicality. And you don't know if your offensive line, when you're early in the season and you can already see some gaping holes there from a physicality standpoint, you don't know if that's going to be fixed. I mentioned that as we did the show last night about Alabama. You get 1 week, couple of weeks into it, and we've lived through this before. As the season moves on, it's probably not going to get a lot better. So I say all of that, meaning that I love the way that Auburn won that football game, and I think that it deserves the national media to give them a little props for it because it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't, some Hail Mary pass at the end of the football game that won it. No, the only thing that kept Baylor in the football game was just an abysmal outing by our secondary. And I think that the national media, if they've got any sense at all, realizes that that's a pretty talented secondary that's got to clean some things up and did it last year. You keep saying that. So you got to go back to that and realize that the history of a certain program under a certain coordinator has proven that we can fix that. And it's going to be needed to be fixed. That's number one on the defensive side, but still proud of the way we played in week one.
Yeah, and Coach Freeze talked about that. The missed coverages and just not really looking like being a little bit more tired than they expected. He said that he talked to Dom Studinsky and Coach Durkin and the staff trying to figure out the process. He said. Just going in and obviously he said we found a way to win, but did we feel like we were crisp and fresh? He said, I get making mistakes. You missed some tackles in week one. Usually, he said, however, I feel like we tackled really well in the live scrimmages. The two we had, it was 140 degrees when we got there, and our emotions on defense, we were an emotional group, and that kind of adds to the drain. I can attest to that. It was ridiculously hot on that turf. We all knew that. South Texas in August, we knew it was going to be hot. And again, you are jacked up first game of the year, and that kind of takes a little bit more out of you. Not making excuses, but he said they are going to look at that and try to figure that out. As you just mentioned, some honors after week one for players. Jackson Arnold, as you said, was co-offensive player of the week in the SEC, and Rayshon Pleasant was co-special teams player of the week. So both of those guys had really, really good games. Rayshon Pleasant showed why he was so highly sought after in the portal and what he was able to do. And he's got that instinct. Man, you don't coach that. I mean, you have seen in the past guys that are just naturals at being able to return punts and return, kickoffs. And Tim Carter at Auburn was that way. I mean, the guy just had a nose for figuring out how to, if he didn't break it all the way, man, he found a way to just get a big play. And then you had Javier Arenas at Alabama, Randy, that every time he touched the ball, it was like, crap, why did you kick to that guy? Because he's going to get 60 yards at least. Some guys just have that. And Rayshon Pleasant has that. Jason Caldwell looked at me on the sideline and said, if he gets a chance to run one, to return one tonight, he's going to take it all the way. And dang, he nailed it. I went all the way back around the field, and I said, dude, you called that. I'm like, and he said, well, he's just instinctive, and he is, so well-deserved.
Yeah, definitely well-deserved on both fronts, starting with the offensive side. If you would have said opening week, Cam Coleman goes for 8 and 165 and 2 touchdowns, and Malcolm added another 80, and you look up and Jackson Arnold got MVP or Player of the Week for the conference on the offensive side by taking advantage of some unbelievable athletes on the perimeter, I would have said, man, that's nice. That's good. I hope it keeps up.
Right.
But the way that he won it, Brett's more important to me. I mean, he was the gamer, found a way to kind of put Auburn on his back, especially on that final drive. I haven't had that feeling with someone running it downhill between the tackles as a quarterback. Physical run downhill when we needed to get key yards since Cam Newton. Not to take anything away from Nick Marshall. Right. Everybody knows how much I love Nick Marshall. But even with Nick Marshall, I never felt like we leaned on him to go and get the key yards when he had to late in the football game. But Jackson Arnold proved that he can. And then, my gosh, hey, you can't have enough game breakers. And Auburn needs game breakers in the special teams. And look, if a kick unit's not good enough to get the ball 5 to 7 yards deep in the end zone, and it's anywhere from the 1 to 5 yard line, I know a lot of people just take it on out and start up shop. Not us. I hope not. Look, if they're lucky enough to tackle him at 17 or 18, so be it. But I'd test every single kicking unit that doesn't kick the football 7 or 8 yards deep into the end zone to bring it out this year, Brett.
I'd punish them. That's a way to really make a team pay, and you can flip the game on field position, a lot of different things. Injuries, we always talk about that. Amaris Williams came back in the game. Coach Freeze, this is his quotes from yesterday on injuries. He said Amaris bounced back, got back in, so I think he's fine. He said, unfortunately, and man, this is sickening. I mean, it really is. Champ Anthony suffered a broken thumb. I tweeted that out right as Coach Freeze said that yesterday. Going to require surgery, so he's going to miss some time. I don't know how much time he's going to miss. Nobody does. But the fact that kid fought all the way back from a broken leg to come back playing that game to break a finger or thumb and to have to undergo surgery, going to miss, man, it's unfortunate, man. I hate it for him. Just sometimes people feel like they can't I hate to say catch a break. I don't want to say that because he's caught 2 breaks. And but he just has some bad luck on that stuff. And I'll let you kind of give your thoughts there. But then Damari Alston is a little questionable with a shoulder. He said there were a lot of bumps and bruises, but he said, I think that's the 2. Champ will be out and Damari will be questionable for Saturday. So we'll see. I'll be at practice tomorrow. Faith and I will be there. Actually, tomorrow is this morning, so that's why we're doing it. I'll be there this morning, and we'll be seeing – I doubt Damari Alston will be involved in anything. He'll probably have a yellow jersey on or maybe not even dressed. So, but, kind of got out of it with those kind of bumps and bruises.
Well, again, what you said about Champ, I mean, someone that's worked that hard to get back and has become a captain of the team, which is voted on by the team. So that kind of speaks volumes to the effort that he's given to get back. To get another injury is just difficult. It's a rough sport, and it's the reason you need depth. And Auburn feels that. We've got a really deep unit in the secondary. Some of those guys I feel are versatile enough to move around and play some different positions. And you can like or dislike the way that we played so many people in that opening game back there. But
Right.
now that you got an injury, you probably got glad some took a snap. You've got some film on them to go back and have some teaching points in a very difficult environment against uh, a great passing team in Baylor, and I think that will sustain itself throughout the season. No matter if they win 8 ball games like they did last year, end up only winning 4 or 5 ball games, I still am very confident they're going to put a quality product out there each week, throwing the football around the park. And then Damari, I hope he's out. I hope he goes on ahead and takes a breather this week. I'm sure he doesn't want to do that because
Right.
he had a good
Had a good
night,
game.
and with that good game, you want to add on it and just kind of keep adding the yards and putting the stats up there, adding the confidence into that room. But Darrell Robinson, I think there's more
Yes.
carries there to be had by
Yeah.
him. I'm with you. I don't know what I had in my mind of what I would see from him, but he's more of a taller, leaner guy than what I was expecting to get
Yes.
from him. And so I like what I see there. And then Jeremiah Cobb can't carry the ball enough for me. I mean, he didn't break one in the opening game, and I think they're there to be had. And I love the way he's running downhill. And if you get gassed and that guy's in the football game
Yes.
fresh, good luck. You can see the explosiveness, Brett.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think, as a competitor, you don't ever want to sit out, but Damari Austin's health moving forward later in the season is a lot more important than seeing if he can rack up yards against Ball State. That's just the harshness of that right there. I mean, yeah, he wants to play, but they'll evaluate that, and if there's even a sign of any kind of problem, they'll hold him out. Also, a couple more things he talked about, and you and I talked about this the other day, finding more opportunities in the passing game, and not a cut on any average fan, but I've had some people go, well, I can't believe we didn't throw it to the receivers more. Well, here's why we didn't throw it to the receivers more, and kind of what we've been talking about. He said, I think that will come when at some point you're going to have a box that you don't like. You're going to have to throw the ball to win the football game. Those days are coming. I said that yesterday to you on the reaction show.
Mm-hmm.
I said, he says the good thing is I think we have the ability and the people that can do that. It'll be good to get Jackson some of those reps sooner than later. But in that game in particular, it was just very difficult when you're ripping off good runs not to continue to do that. Control the clock and give the ball back to them because I think they're a really good offense. So I think that time's coming where we get to see the full aspect of what we can be. Again, it's just called being smart about what you're doing and not worrying about what you look like when you go out and try to win a football game. And you look, the fans are the first to criticize you when you lose. Would you have rather lost the game and him thrown for 400 yards and all the receivers had all that and you gave them extra possessions, or did you take what the defense gave you and what was working and win the ball game by several scores and really dominate? I mean, the real true football analysts out there and critics would go, that would have been the dumbest thing in the world for Auburn to have gone away from that.
It's not a beauty pageant. And this year, especially for Hugh Freeze, the pageants are over. I mean, he's had some beautiful teams to watch, not only at Ole Miss, but at Liberty. But these first couple that he's had at Auburn have been difficult to watch. And if you find a way to win football games in year 3 and then build back up into an offense that you can be proud of, that we can all point to and, tout the 1,000+ yard receivers and the 3,000+ yard quarterbacks and the 700 or 800 yard plus running quarterbacks, then I'm all here for it. But if it means Auburn's got to rush the football for 300 yards per game, the way that we did in 2013, and not worry about throwing it all over the park with these great receivers, then find ways to get them involved in the football game that's not necessarily throwing it down the field to them. I'll put it that way. And I love the way that we utilized Derek Singleton in that opening game. He didn't have a ton of touches, but the touches he had were really solid touches. But the times that we used him as eye candy, every single time we used him as eye candy worked. I'm on a text thread with a bunch of guys that we're coaching youth football right now, and one of the things I took away from that Auburn game was that, Brett. If you've got a dynamic athlete, and it's easier said than done, but when the dynamic athlete's in timing with the quarterback and the running back, and now the way that they take advantage of getting pretty much student body gap coverage up the
Right.
middle. So show that speed sweep and then send that versatile quarterback right back up in between the tackles, the way that we close that game out. Just a beautiful play call, Brett. And it's not just us that's running it. But you
No.
got to have the right guy triggering it to make it successful. And I think we got it. There's no doubt in my mind we got it.
Yeah, I do too. Some more quotes from Coach Freeze and some stuff from around the country on Auburn, and will Auburn be in the top 25 right after this? Talking about some of our partners, Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean. Call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, saving people thousands of dollars on new installations. This is the time to check out Sensagreen, and they've got some really, really good deals going on that we'll continue to tell you about throughout the week. And but again, for the best around, call on Sensagreen, and proud supporters of Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz. Podcast Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, taking you from the pre-construction phase all the way to the finished product. I've watched them work with my own two eyes, and I watch how they handle big, massive, multi-million-dollar projects. And if you have a project like that, you're a municipality or you're an educational institution out there and you're planning on that, you need to hire a consulting firm and a program firm like Scout, and they will take you all the way through the process and hold people accountable. Check them out in Birmingham, Alabama. And Bunkers, Randy, right there on East Glen and Auburn. I don't know that there's a more cooler place literally right now than Bunkers. It's been a little bit fallish out there, but the atmosphere there is awesome. You can play in the simulator bays. You can get your friends, your family, everybody out there. They got 50 parking spots. The food's outstanding. Got 2 bars. If you haven't been to Bunkers, I don't really know why. So fix that this week. Go by Bunkers for some great food, some great atmosphere. We got great partners here on the program. All right, a couple more things Coach Freeze said on the rotation on the defensive line. He said we rotated a lot of guys. By the way, Auburn played 28 guys on defense. So they played 28 guys. Coach Durkin felt like they played a little bit too many. They think that had a little bit to do with maybe some of the inconsistency that we saw in the backside of the defense. But this is what he said. He said, I think we had 6 inside guys and 5 outside guys, maybe 6. Really good rotation. I thought all of them played solid and established a presence at the line of scrimmage. There weren't any standout performances, but all of them played really solid, established the line of scrimmage, got pushed on the pocket, where the pocket got crushed. He said, I thought all of them played well. You mentioned something about Keldrick Falk, and I've seen other guys say the effort on one of those plays where he made a tackle downfield, very impressive. That guy just doesn't stand around when the ball gets past him and watch. He hustled downfield, made a tackle on that play, and really maybe saved a potential score, Randy. And so kudos to Keldrick Falk is why he's the prototypical guy that you see that, yes, he's gotten a lot of hype, but, man, he has earned every bit of it through his hustle. He's got the intangibles, but the effort is there too. The guy has a motor that never stops. And, again, you can't manufacture that. You either have that or you don't.
Well, you can be led into it. And, and I bring that up based off of some of the film that I've seen come out from that Alabama team. And the lackluster effort that they had on the back end, you haven't seen that during the Saban era. I mean, or you go over there and sit over there and rot. And I'm cheering us on by what I saw there. And I said it after that play. He made that tackle about 15 to 18 yards down the field, running a skill guy down from behind at 6'6", 285. Everyone would like to see him have 3.5 sacks and 4 tackles for loss and control the edge. And, every time they try his side, they're not successful. That's good to see. But you can't take those type of plays away, Brett. Those are athleticism plays that not everyone can make. And also ones when you're well led on a certain side of the ball, especially defense, where, you're taught to run to the football. And if you're not running to the football, then something's going to happen. There's going to be a missed tackle, and there's going to be a big play made solely because of your lack of effort. And so I saw it as soon as it happened, and he had a couple of more big plays late in the football game. He was held in control, if you're a Baylor fan, for a lot of the ball game.
Hey, Baylor's offensive line pretty good.
Well, they look pretty good to me. I mean, look,
Yeah,
I think we've got
very veteran.
I think we got to clean up some of the blitz packages that we're bringing in. We're going to have to get to them, and I think we got the guys to get there. But Brett, you got to understand, we played a majority of those guys at linebacker haven't taken a lot of snaps.
Yeah,
so
about to go to the linebackers here next.
A lot of the blitz packages that you'll see later in the season, we may not have wanted to show all of it, but Riddick was great coming in blitz packages by the end of last year, and I still expect that he will be. He was good back in coverage at times the other night, missed some coverages. I'm guessing with our linebackers with some of those plays across the middle. So we'll watch that, hopefully progress in a positive way. But for the most part, I didn't watch the defensive front and go, oh, my gosh, we're going to be gashed. We can't compete. I didn't see that.
Oh, no. No, I said it yesterday. I told you what my analysis was on the linebackers, and Coach Freeze kind of hammered that point. This is his quote on that. He said, good against the run, not so good against the pass and technique and drops. That's exactly what I said to you yesterday. I think we were fine in, stopping the run and helping support, but we missed some coverages. We were out of position in some times, and, that's what hurt our secondary too. Secondary not tackling well also, added to that. But he said, if you're supposed to hash, drop, or be able to hash, we've got to improve those aspects of it. He said, but there were some good things, and then there were some things we got to improve on. So he didn't really give a lot of detail, but really that's where it was, just figuring out. Again, that's going to come with experience and learning to play with each other on the field. And again, I thought early in the game, Robert Woodyard made some really good plays, again, in the running game. But in some passing situations, the middle of the field was wide open for Sawyer Robertson. Look, I had a bird's eye view of it. Most of the time I was standing right behind Sawyer Robertson looking at what he was seeing, and the middle of the field was open. And he dumped a lot of crossing. We could not stop crossing patterns and some things, and we've struggled with that over the last couple of years. I mean, we struggled with the crossing patterns last year, if you'll remember.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people say that, when we were good on the edges. We did some other things, but we left the middle of the field open and vulnerable. So – and then the last thing that we'll talk about before moving on is the tight ends. Coach Freeze said, thought Brandon Frazier had his best game. So I thought he played at a high level. Preston Howard battled hard too. He said they had two big catches and great drop step. The one B. Frazier would have liked to see him come up with that ball. Obviously, it was not a fumble, but still don't like to see it loose on the ground. And that's kind of what we were saying on the sideline is like, man, you go back, his elbow was down, but just protect the football. Again, going back to what was one of the Achilles heels last year for this Auburn team. And then he goes on to say, he said, but I thought he played a high level. Then Tate Johnson coming in with our Big 12 package, he said, did some good things, had a great block on that 4th and 1. So I thought they all played at a high level in the run game. Pass game, again, not enough sample size. But the ones that did come their way, I thought they handled very well. So, hey, that's a weapon. Good football teams have solid tight end play, Randy, and we have a chance to have that. Again, like he said, didn't get to see a lot in the passing game, but, man, it creates mismatches for defenders, especially linebackers, if you have some good tight ends. Preston Howard's very athletic. Let me add to that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to help in the passing game. I think we need it. Even though you'll see Malcolm and some others in the slot opening up the middle of the field, Brett, a bigger body there in the middle of the field to go along with the speed guys that we got on the perimeter is going to help out this team tremendously. And we've been asking for that for a long time. So I'm not going to talk too much about it until we see a little more of it. But my eyes tell me both of them can be successful. And the great thing about Frazier is his ability to block too. That's a massive human being. I mean, if there's one that you can get behind and go downhill and add a great blocker in there in the mix, he's one for that. And he looked healthy. He looked good out there on the field.
He did. He did. So, love to see the tight end position really become a weapon for this team this year. All right, a couple more of our partners here, and then a couple more things we want to talk about this morning. Number one Customs, they're 3/4 of the way finished with our project here at our house, renovating our master bathroom. And if you need a master bath, bedroom, kitchen, outdoor living space, whatever it is that you're looking for, they're the ones to call. I'm going to have proof of that here, hopefully very soon, that we can show you right here on the podcast. But call them 334-752-6162. They're very busy, and they do great work. Go check them out online. And their sister company, JFA Blue Plumbing, 844-JFA Blue, for the home Atlas water filter to be installed into your house for purified water, $15.99 out the door. And you got purified water coming out of every faucet in your home, and that's huge for your health and your pets and everything else. You want purified water. You want to be drinking purified water. So call on JFA Blue, 844-JFA Blue. Oliver Ross, it is officially tailgate season, and you need to call on Oliver Ross. You don't want to be the tailgate that's there amongst everybody else's and you look like trash because you don't have the right stuff and everybody else has got the good stuff and you got a bunch of janked up stuff over at yours. So if you call Oliver Ross, they'll send fully licensed and trained bartenders to your tailgate, and they'll bring all the stuff and they'll break it down, take it away, and you don't have to worry about it. So call on Oliver Ross. I'm telling you, they're the professionals. They know how to do it right. And so you need to call on them. And again, tailgate season, man. Auburn will be at home this coming up Saturday against Ball State. We'll start talking about that game. Hey, another thing that I told you about the other day, this game is the 25th anniversary of the Eagle Flight. And I gave you a little bit of the trivia. That Eagle Flight took place against Wyoming. And that was Rudy Johnson's coming out party. And the Eagle flew from the goalpost to midfield. And everybody thought it was the greatest thing in the world. It's like, man, that's awesome. Now the Eagle flies all the way around the stadium, in and out, and all kind of stuff. It's really, really cool. We'll add some more game notes as we move forward the rest of the week as we head into Ball State. 6:30 kickoff. It'll be a night. Should be a really fun environment. Won't be real hot, hopefully, during the day. And then, of course, at night, it'll help out a lot. But the national media giving Auburn some credit, Randy. I'll go back to that as we close out here on the program this morning. And rightfully so. I mean, Georgia Tech on the road against Colorado. Utah, I thought, impressed against UCLA. Hey, man, what about TCU? And as we're filming this right now and recording this, they are annihilating North Carolina. And I hate to say it now. He may come back and North Carolina may be fine. But this Bill Belichick experiment, this is going by how I thought it was going to go. And
you called it.
Right now, TCU's up 48-14. There's about 4 minutes to go in the game, and they're driving again. Who thought this was a good idea? Really? Seriously?
You didn't. I didn't have a feel for it. You know, when it gets outside of the SEC, I'm not even going to act like I spend a whole lot of time paying any attention to it. That's the reason. I think you asked me last night if I wanted to talk about this game, and my simple answer was not no, but hell no. I mean, the next player that trumps out or steps out there for North Carolina will be the first one that I know that they've got on the field this year. But I don't like the saga behind it.
It's a circus. It's a circus.
The 35-year age gap between he and his girlfriend, such an odd dynamic. It screams. I don't even know what it screams. So I don't have a good take on it, Brett. But I do know that he looks old. He doesn't look overly engaged on the sideline for the few minutes that I have watched, and that will bother you worse than anything.
Right.
I've said that over the year. Just show me something. You know, if you're upset, and maybe that's not the demeanor that you hope to carry, but I've heard more Alabama fans complain about Kalen DeBoer's demeanor on the sideline than I have anything else. And I think they would rather look over there and he'd be puking on the ground and slinging his hat and his headgear and everything else. At least you know that there's some care behind that facade that feels like there's just not a lot there. So I get the same feeling from Belichick. And Maybe it gets better. The recruiting's not terrible. He's doing an okay job here in the state of Alabama, isn't he, Brett?
Yeah, maybe unless this product turns into
Well, yeah, you could lose some of them, but
yeah, right.
he's done better with that than I expected him to do there. I thought he wouldn't work on that end either.
Well, speaking of that, I didn't have it on the list to talk about, but we'll talk about it. Hezekiah Harris, Auburn lost him in the class yesterday. Decommitted, or didn't really decommit, just flipped to Tennessee, and that was the storyline. Even when Faith and I went up there to interview him months ago as part of the top 10 in the state, he's been committed to Auburn a long time, and really spoke highly of Auburn. Really good relationships with coaches at Auburn. And Tennessee just, I don't know. I mean, it had to be an offer. I think he was happy with Auburn, and, coming off a big win like Auburn had, you would feel like, man, would have just kind of helped and reconfirmed but he flips to Tennessee. Doesn't mean he can't flip back. I mean, we've seen guys do that. But Tennessee now has the inside track for Hezekiah Harris. I hate it, man. It's a good player that we lost.
Well, I agree. And, we've heard of Tennessee a few other times here recently. And, when you watch the product they're putting out there, you can sense that they've got something they can, that is going to sustain itself. And I think it'll help us if we can have a consistent year, get to that 8, 9, 10 win plateau. And I think we'll get back in the mix on some guys that we were out on. And, but I hate losing any of these in-state guys, but you had a feeling right after you talked with him. I get a good feel when I talk to you on, you're usually bleeding orange and blue, so you won't necessarily take it all the way to the nth whenever you do have a sense that something's off there. But I knew after you went there, something was off.
Yeah, just a lot of he just came back from his visit with Tennessee when we were up there visiting, and really was a team that everybody said you got to watch, and obviously that was the case, with him. So we'll see. We'll kind of follow that. Just real quick, next this coming up Saturday, games to watch for. Arizona State will travel to Mississippi State. Arizona State's a 6.5-point favorite. We'll see that one. Michigan, Oklahoma is a top 25 matchup. Number 14, Michigan. Number 18, Oklahoma. The new rankings come out tomorrow, so we'll see if things change. Actually, they'll come out today because today's Tuesday as we're recording this. And then, Ole Miss and Kentucky will play, and that's at Kentucky. I don't know that will be much of a game. I think Ole Miss will take it to Kentucky. They struggled with Toledo. It was not a very good game. I think they won it 24-16 or something, and very pedestrian effort by Zach Calzada. But this has been such a star-studded opening week of football. The second week usually kind of is a downhiller. There's a couple games to watch. Definitely that Michigan-Oklahoma game, because we got Oklahoma coming up in a few weeks.
Well, glad Arizona State's close to home. I'm betting our good friend Luke Robinson will be heading on the road over to Starkville, Mississippi, because Pruitt will be out there. And we've shared that on our social media outlet. Luke's son is getting better and better. He's like, Brett Pritchard's son's going to be putting the fields together, and Truett's going to be doing the videos for these big colleges one day. And we're proud of both of them for what they're doing there. But his highlight reels for Arizona State have been
phenomenal,
outstanding. So he'll be down there, and I'm sure Luke will be heading over to see him. And so that's a little bit of a storyline for us locally on what's going on there. And
absolutely,
who knows if Mississippi State doesn't turn the corner quick, they're going to have to go in a different direction. I know they got a win in week 1, but we'll know if there's any turn at all with this game with Arizona State.
Oh, of course. And real quick, just looking at the games throughout the SEC, Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech will be one to watch. Of course, we just listed Michigan, Oklahoma, Arizona State, Mississippi State. The rest of them, not much. South Florida at Florida, Kansas at Missouri. I mean, that might be fun to watch. Utah State, Texas A&M, San Jose State at Texas. There's just not much. La Monroe at Alabama, and of course, we got Ball State. So just not a lot, but a few. Arizona State, Mississippi State, it'll be fun to watch. And then definitely all eyes will be on that Michigan-Oklahoma game coming Saturday. That is at 6:30, of course, right when we kick off against Ball State. So But, everybody can follow it. You got mobile devices and stuff. Everybody can watch multiple games at one time now. So.
But I love Saturday setup.
Yep.
It's a late kick. You can get all the tailgating in you want. You and I'll be right next door to one another before you go in and work. And well, we got a couple of tailgate spots right there close to Parker Hall. So stop by and see us. Sure, we'll be doing a reaction show following the game on Saturday night. So stay tuned in for that. Maybe later, but stay tuned in. We're going to try to make sure that we're working those in.
We're going to do them. And Pepper Tree Steaks and Wines are sponsored. So going to be doing post-game shows after.
Well, you'll have a much easier time of finding a place to sit down and do it on Saturday than you did in Waco, Texas. So, we're looking forward to that, and can't thank Pepper Tree enough for not only sponsoring our everyday podcast, but to step in and sponsor that. And we know there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on those reaction shows. And back to Luke, I was joking with him today. We had some texts with you were on there too, and there's nothing better than ill-willed fans when it comes to what we do here on these podcasts. And
we stay away from them though. I got a bug flying around.
I think his subs went over 1,000 following that single reaction show, and I don't know how many views. So you feel like I'm knocking him. I'm not really knocking him. I mean, when you do what we do, sometimes you'd love for your teams to do nothing but win.
We've had enough on our side. I'll take wins all year this year.
That's right.
But sacrificing some subs, I'll take it.
But that negative publicity is not bad for eyeballs, is it?
No, it absolutely
not bad for business.
Well, people like to complain. I mean,
they sure do.
They just naturally like to complain.
Hey, before we go off, did you catch any Feinbaum today?
No, I don't watch him.
Oh,
I just don't watch him.
Well, there's a couple of callers.
I hope somebody called him out on Arch Manning because
they have. They've called him out a lot, but I like a couple of his callers. And
I know, yeah.
I always have liked a couple of his callers. One of them's Legend.
Which I was just going to say, what was it, Legend?
Yep. He had 7 minutes of irateness, and look, I can use 4-letter words as good as anybody. I mean, Brett and I may have a high-end competition on which ones of us can get more upset and blast the most out. I don't think that's something we're bragging about. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. We're pretty good at it. But Legend lost his ever-loving mind on there today, and he's so witty. He's so quick. You can lose your mind and not make any sense.
Right.
He loses his mind, and it just gets better. And, I mean, it's almost like a comedic relief. I mean, this guy's he's amazing. So I'm sure a lot of Auburn fans hate his guts, but I get humor, especially when these Alabama fans lose their mind, and we got a lot of them doing it right now. And Justin Clayton, if he's tuning in when he's watching this tomorrow morning, he's watched more Alabama reaction shows than any Alabama fan.
I think that's all he did all day yesterday. That's all he did all day long. Just watch as many reaction shows as he could. So. Hey, that's a good pastime right now.
It is. Oh, man.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Again, we appreciate all of you that have subscribed. If you have not done that, please go subscribe and then hit the like on that as well. And, again, we'll be back with you tomorrow for more of the Auburn Blitz. Randy, you'll be with Andy here in a few hours for the lunch show. So everybody tune that in. Faith and I'll be at football practice this morning. We'll give a live, not live, but we'll do a video after we leave practice. And then we got our On the Road show. Auburn and Opelika going to be playing one another. So we'll be talking about that game coming up and filming that for this week as well. So we all got a bunch of stuff going on right now. Hey, I wouldn't have it any other way. That's the way we live right now. So, all right, everybody out there, have the best day ever. Do something nice for somebody. Again, that's always great.